Governor Rick Snyder of Michigan. Oh man, let me tell you about this wonderful individual. Just what he does for his people needs to be commemorated in my mind. This is what he does for some of his citizens. Melissa Mays, this is her account of everything that happened. She's been feeling sluggish. She developed a rash on her leg and clumps of her hair are falling out. She ended up in an emergency room last week after feeling like her brain exploded, hearing pops and experiencing severe pain in one side of her head. That's what he did to her. You want to know how he did that? He switched the city's water system. They needed to do a revamp on their pipes in the system. It would have cost them billions of dollars and they wouldn't have got done with it till around this time in 2016. So instead of going to Detroit and buying their water, which is properly processed, known to be clean, he decides to tap into a local river. Well, we all know what the industrial era did to our rivers and our lakes and our streams. Pumped them full of toxic waste. I know, right? It's the beautiful, it smells delicious when you're around the Chattahoochee River. Oh my God.
Good. I just want to drink it
Just drink it all up. Dive right into the fish.
Yeah.
They don't have two heads at all.
It's like the Simpsons with their eyes, man.
So, he taps into a local river, and the Flint Michigan river that they have there, and pumps it into the regular system. Well, river water is much harder to process, plus you have no clue what pollutants are in the river water. All pollutants go into river water because any pollutant that goes into the sky, turns into rain and hits the ground, is in that river. That's a lot of stuff, people. So, after he did that, the high salt content in this water, which was too high to be pumped through these pipes, he knew this in the first place, begins to corrode the pipes. As they corrode the pipes, they release lead and copper in very, very high doses into the water. This started happening, mind you, 20 months ago. That's when they made the change, and all this stuff has been happening over time. So, after all of this time, this water being slowly polluted, well, you know, a few months after it went by, the people realized there were reports of brown water. There were reports of their water smelling like sewage and waste. There are reports of their water smelling like legit fecal matter. Brown coming out of their pipes. So they call in to the people, and the water safety people in their city are like, hey, it's okay, you know, nothing's really wrong. So when the people call, all they do is tell them, hey, nothing's wrong, your water's just fine, don't worry about it. Well, initial reports found that there was actually E. coli in the water when it was first found and treated. So what did they do? Instead of fixing the problem, instead of properly changing it over to the way that they're supposed to, they highly increased the chlorine content in their water. We absorb a massive amount of chlorine from the water just through our skin. Your skin is the largest organ on your body. So we all know this. And you would be shocked how much pollutants your skin absorbs. Well, this water was so heavily chlorinated that just the steam coming from a hot shower was toxic. I'm sorry, people, this is ridiculous, especially for someone like me. Drink water all day long. I take 30, 40-minute showers. Because that's what I love to do.
30, 40 minutes?
Legit 30, 40-minute showers. I stay in there until there's no more hot water.
Yeah, we know what you're doing in that shower.
Hey, it's very comfortable.
We know what you're doing.
But that's why this is such a big deal. And on top of that, lead is detrimental to anyone's body. But to children, it's like 20 times as dangerous for children as it is for humans. I mean, for adults.
Sorry, children are not humans, people.
There was 900, this is the actual report, there was 900 times the amount of lead that is allowable in the water. And when they first raised the chlorine content, they broke the Clean Water Act right there in and of itself. So then on top of breaking the Clean Water Act by doing that, their water has 900 times the lead it's supposed to, and no one's tested it at this point in the city. Oh wait, they did test it. about 15 months too late. The governor found out in May of 2015, in May of 2014 is when the city first found out of their reports and that were requested and everything like that. May of 2014 is when the mayor should have known about it. He didn't tell anyone until late of February 2015. 20 months of drinking contaminated water. Not contaminated water.
So after that, they decided to do something about it, right? They decided to...
Wait, have you forgot what country we live in?
But they did something about it because they're good people, right?
Well, if good people is playing the blame game and then still not fixing the problem, if being good people is knowing that your water is polluted from May 2014 to February 2015, and instead of doing something about it, you tell people, hey, there's just a boil water advisory for a couple weeks. You should do that. Yeah, no, they didn't fix the problem. They still haven't fixed the problem. They've just now, after they were going to be investigated, they just now came out and declared a state of emergency.
Oh, this guy's a Republican. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's just a little side note. Anyway, I think I find that very... So they're not good people is what you're saying. They're horrible, disgusting people that literally gave their people lead poisoning.
Yeah.
Knew about it.
They kept doing it.
This is like stuff from the comic books, like the Joker literally and Scarecrow literally wanted to put toxins in the water to drive people insane. That's literally what's happened in the comic books before.
And that's pretty much what lead does to people.
So these
plus the rashes, plus the losing of hair, plus vomiting and extreme nausea, plus headaches, plus learning disabilities for children, plus the fact that these learning disabilities are not short-term, they're permanent because their brains are officially scarred at that point. These are...
So Governor Rick Snyder is either Scarecrow or the Joker. He's not cool enough to be the Joker, so I'm going to give him Scarecrow.
Yeah, because his plot was found out and foiled.
Yeah.
And he doesn't really... He's not a mastermind.
That's...
Oh, and my bad. I'm sorry. If you guys didn't catch that earlier in the video, me calling him a wonderful person was sarcasm. He's a fucking deplorable human being. He needs to be put in prison. He needs to be charged with various crimes. With child endangerment, alone. How many counts should he have? One count for every single child in his city? I don't know why they did it. Because buying the water that they know would be clean from Detroit would cost them about $15 million, and this alternative only cost them about $2.5 million in the short term. In the long term, there is a city full of people who will be sick and dealing with this for the rest of their lives. A whole generation of children with learning disabilities.
And I know it's your party. I know you're a Republican. But it kind of proves the point that Republicans don't give a shit about anybody. All they care about is lining their pockets with money and just being rich. It's a simple human thing. This could kill people if I do this. Damn the money. These people are important. Damn the fact, maybe they're poor or maybe they're rich, whatever. Damn that. It's not about money. It's about doing the right thing.
When was that? I thought that was the whole goal of politicians when they were originated, is to do the best that they can for their constituents.
Well, that's
which are their citizens.
That's been lost for quite a while now. But I say that knowing full well that kind of counters my argument. But it's you don't really expect for it to be this despicable.
Well, and forget just doing the best good. Where did simple human decency go?
Yeah.
Where did the simple... I'm not talking about a lot of respect. A small amount of respect for another person's body. Where did that go?
I mean, I'll out the window. It's not my body, so I don't care, man.
Oh, I guarantee you he was drinking bottled water after he found out in May of 2014.
Absolutely. Him, all the people that worked with him, for him, whatever, they all knew and were drinking bottled water, buying bottled water, buying jugs of water.
And GM knew about this back then. GM stopped using the city's water because of how bad it was breaking their engines, and started trucking in their own water.
General Motors?
Yeah, General Motors.
They knew about it.
They knew about it. And, well, they didn't know how toxic it was because they weren't drinking it. It was going through their engines and their pipes, and it was corroding them. And they noticed how bad the corrosion was, so they stopped using the water and started bringing in their own water.
It's sickening. I can't even. At this point, it shouldn't be like, oh, we've got all these petitions out. It's like, why is he even still there? He should be up on federal charges. He should be going to jail. This is, I mean, dare I say it, this is damn near worse than what the people in Oregon are doing, the Oregon militia.
Oh,
they're committing treason. But he's actively killing people.
Yeah.
You know, and I will give the Oregon people credit. They haven't killed anyone yet. But here he is, a governor who has signed something that is killing his people by whatever number. One is way too many. You know, you're drinking water. Water. That's the most essential thing. All you need to survive is water and bread.
I just wanted to look at a few things that were in the water. Abnormally high levels for the past 16 months, abnormally high levels of E. coli, one word is way too long for me to try to explain, lead and copper.
Yeah, even I'm going to put it right here.
Yeah.
So you guys can see it. And that's why we can't say it.
Yeah. And then on top of that, the chlorine that they pumped to extreme amounts was so high that the steam in your shower is toxic. Like, so forget the fact that you're drinking E. coli and lead. You can't even take a shower.
You can't take a shower, you can't drink it, you can't do nothing with it. You can clean your tub with it.
Oh, yeah, wear gloves.
Yeah, wear gloves, but you can clean with it. You know, you might leave some E. coli around, but you know, you can clean with all that chlorine. You know,
like, and the thing that is just so upsetting to me personally is people have been complaining about this for 20 months.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane that they didn't tell people from the get-go, like, hey, this is what's happening until because this is till something gets fixed, right? So, you know, hey, this is what's going to be happening until, you know, this situation gets fixed and resolved. Until then, we highly suggest you buy bottled water because this water is not going to be safe for you to drink. They knew it wasn't safe. They knew it wasn't safe before they even put it into action.
It was this simple, people. This is how simple it was to fix this problem. And this is why I get so upset about the political process. Learn about it. Please do. Because it's not nearly as complex as people try to make this shit out to be. This isn't rocket science, people. All he had to do was switch the water, which he had already switched, from river water back to Detroit's water. It would have taken a month at maximum. A week, to be honest. A few days if he really wanted to get it done properly. But I'm going to say a month to make sure that the systems are properly cleaned and all of that bad water is flushed out and the Detroit water is in. Tell everyone in your city to run your water for the next 30 minutes to an hour, help to flush out the system to bring in the new water. And then here in a couple days, you can use the water like normal. It's that simple. It would have taken, as soon as he found out about it, 20 months ago, if he would have acted on it, he would look like a hero right now. He would be like, we have to be praising his name right now. Because he would have saved that
He
lives.
would be looking so good right now that he would be the #1 president.
I was just about to say, yeah, he could run for president.
People would be writing in his name like, this guy is awesome. Did you hear what he did? He saved his people. He found out the water was hurting his people. You know, water's a necessity. What did he do? He fixed it.
Instantly. Didn't hesitate. So, I'd like to just apologize for how loud I was earlier. Yeah, this stuff just really upsets me because this is the type of field that I want to go into in state and local government. Not necessarily being a governor, but being a city manager or emergency manager and stuff like that. And these are the things that you're supposed to protect your people from. These are the things that define not only who you are as a person, but the role that you play for the city, and no one else can do it.
Not only that, but your legacy.
Your legacy, yeah, for like the rest of your life. Like, I am all about saving money, but I am not about cutting corners. Cutting corners typically ends up in crap like this happening. You don't properly test the water before you start running it through your system. You don't properly test your system to see how the water will work in it. After you hear reports, you don't do anything to help the people besides tell them to boil water. Then once people start coming up sick and start presenting you with little arguments after they don't know why they're getting sick. Like, could you imagine how mentally detrimental that would be to know that, oh, I'm getting sick and I don't know why. And I get sicker and sicker. The more water I drink, the more rest I get, and I don't know why. You go to the hospital and ask your doctor, why am I so sick? And they don't know why.
And it's because 70% of your body is just fucked right now because of all of the lead and
E. coli.
Chlorine, E. coli, the other thing, which will be here again for yeah, it's despicable. We are made up of 70% of water. We need water. That number is, it's like close to that or something like that. We need water, and
isn't it like the rule of three? You can go like 3 weeks without food, but you can only go like 3 days without water. So the reason I said that rule of three, I got that off of Dual Survival, and you can go about a week without water, but that's if you're not doing anything strenuous.
Yeah.
So like if you're just walking, that's considered strenuous when you have no water.
Imagine the people who were at the gym, who work out all the time,
drinking massive amounts of water,
who mix those
protein,
like their protein drinks, their supplements, their whatever kind of powders they use, and they're using that E. coli water, that chlorine water, that lead poison.
And then you have to think,
water.
And this is so horrible because especially I didn't even think about that, for people like that who take so much pride in their body, who take so much pride about what they put into their body because they know it directly affects their whole body's outcome, to know that they've been slowly poisoned for the past 20 some odd months. That in large doses,
that crushes their ego.
That crushes your mentally,
yeah,
that's so detrimental.
Yeah,
who could trust the government after that?
No one. That's why there's so many petitions that are calling for him to resign.
But he doesn't need to resign. He needs to be put in jail.
He does.
Think about it. If I went into the city of Atlanta, into our water system, and put a crap ton of lead in there, and I did it every single week for months on end, I'd be called a terrorist. I would be, if not executed, put in prison for the rest of my life. That is what this man did. He knew the water was polluted. Now, how long he knew, that's debatable. I don't care. If you know for a day, you should do something about it. For 1 day. How serious and harmful that could be to someone. It's not tough to comprehend. He needs to be put in prison. We need to stop elevating these people above regular citizens. Anyone else in that position would be put under the jail instantly. Would not be walking around after this information was found out. For a second, it'd be a nationwide manhunt. But because he's got a little bit of power, and he can keep playing the blame game and say that he didn't know what he should have known, when the buck stops with you, Mayor, it'd be better if he was the emergency manager. It'd be better if he was the city manager. You can hide some stuff from them. They don't run the city. Do not allow people to get away with these things, folks. say something about it. If they don't listen, keep saying something about it. If they don't listen, get more people and say more stuff about it. This is despicable, it's deplorable, and he should be ashamed to call himself an American citizen.